Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Brawn Body Podcast. Today we're very excited to be joined by Michelle Dardaris. She has a Bachelor's of Science in Exercise Science from Lebanon Valley College. She's also a NASM certified personal trainer, and she's here to discuss her journey through the world of gymnastics, health and fitness, and just life in general. As I said, she graduated from LVC with her bachelor's degree. She's furthering her education currently at Concordia University in St. Paul to obtain a master's in coaching and athletic administration. And in addition to that, she's currently coaching gymnastics at Atlantic Coast Gymnastics. So she is a very busy, very accomplished individual, and we're excited to have her here. So Michelle, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for the very kind introduction. I'm excited to be here.
So along your journey and along your way, you've probably come into some different obstacles, some things that have kind of slowed you down, knocked you off course. What have been some of those things that kind of hindered your forward progress?
Well, I would say the most significant roadblock in my athletic career were injuries that I faced. So when I was still doing competitive gymnastics, I was 13 and I broke my tib and fib in my right leg and dislocated my growth plate in my ankle, like super freak thing. And of course it was right when I was like doing really well. I was learning a lot of new skills. I was finally like hitting my peak and like kind of, I don't want to say earning my place, like I always worked hard and everything, but I was finally getting some upper level skills and really getting up there. Fortunately, when you're young, your bones heal really fast. I don't have much recollection of recovering from that one because it happened so quickly. That went well. I had surgery and everything, but everything was good. Came back from that, competed for one season. So that was 8th grade. I competed. That went well. And then freshman year of high school was back to my, doing well and really accelerating. And I tore my ACL before the season started. So, and the ACL was in the left knee, so other side. Once I got through that, which that was very much more physical therapy related recovery, ligaments and bone recovery are completely different. I faced a lot more fears coming back, but I was still determined to get back to gymnastics, so I did that. By August of the next summer, so before sophomore year of high school, I got back into it. By January, I was ready to compete in the first meet. I didn't have all my routines yet, so I wasn't ready to compete beam. I had my my vault like downgraded a little bit, but I was ready to go. I competed bars, and then I ended up placing second. So like I could talk about that because it ended up being the last thing that I did because in warming up for floor at the meet, I tore my meniscus in the same knee. So
wow.
It had been something that was bothering me on my recovery, and I kept being told it was scar tissue and stuff like that. They repaired the other meniscus during the surgery, so I was like, okay, I think they would know if something was wrong with it. Turns out it probably was torn or partially torn the whole time. So yeah, after that, I had to make the decision if I wanted to continue to pursue my gymnastics career. Again, this was sophomore year of high school. Decided against it because I was like, one, I want to be able to run and walk when I'm older and hopefully, have children and be able to chase them around. And it just kind of felt like a sign to try something else. I knew I was, capable of other sports. So it was kind of a blessing in disguise. And I went on to compete sports in high school. So I pole vaulted for the track team. I was on the diving team, and I played one season of field hockey. So
wow, that's incredible. Very versatile there, and you did that all despite the fact that you literally destroyed, your entire lower leg on one side, and essentially your entire knee on the other side. The ACL, both menisci. That is insane, and now you've kind of come full circle back to coaching gymnastics. That's awesome. So obviously you said there's some physical struggles, obviously, but some mental challenges in there too. Was there anything that kind of kept you going through that time mentally?
So I would say that overcoming the mental side of it was the most challenging. So when you're coming back from injury, I would like to call those like rational fears that you're overcoming. So, landing short or making sure you're twisted all the way around, or, things that you know may cause you pain or may feel different than it did before. With my knee especially, things just felt different. I had a brace on, like you had to get used to that kind of stuff. So I think coming back from that, I just had to be really patient with myself. I had to really trust my coaches, and sometimes they were hard on me. Like, you got to try it. You can't just be afraid it's going to hurt. You got to try it and see how it is. Some of it was that, like, meniscal pain I was having that was sort of undiscovered. So I like to kind of pat myself on the back for the reason I was afraid of things. But in general, there's a lot of mental toughness that's required in gymnastics, and it's definitely elevated when you're coming back from injury, whether it's a major injury or not. You're used to doing things one way and you have to adjust, or you have to be prepared for things to feel differently. And again, sometimes they will hurt and then you're like, okay, I can't do this yet today, or I'm not ready for that. But you have to trust yourself and trust your coaches and trust your physical therapist. Like, people are telling you you're ready to do it, then you are. So it's just overcoming those fears. And eventually I kind of hit a point where I was like, you know what, worst case scenario is I get hurt again. Like, my life isn't going to end. It's hard to face that fear, but if I re-injured it, I re-injured it. It's just like you can't fight fate to a certain extent. So
Right. I like that. It's about, mastering the art of resilience, but not letting the fear in your life kind of grow roots and take over, so to speak. And you were able to successfully conquer that fear and beat it back. Now, and obviously there's people out there who never do that. They can't say that they were afraid of something and they just kind of let the fear win. They crumbled. They didn't get up and try it again. And what would be a message that you would want someone like that to hear? Someone who, maybe they fall down and they don't want to get back up. They, something happens, they get injured and they don't want to go back to the sport, or, they fail first exam of the semester, absolutely fail it, and they don't even want to go back to class. What would be something that they could kind of take away from what you've been talking about so far?
Well, I definitely think that, it relates from sports through life, through school, everything. As you mentioned, it can be as simple as taking a test, or as difficult as, starting and being ready to compete in your sport for the season. I think it's just understanding that there's certain things that are out of your control, and the things that are in your control, you can always do something about them. So if you're talking study habits, it's change everything you did. If nothing worked, if you failed so tragically, then you got to do something different. But as long as you're making the effort to change something, then you can't be upset with yourself. And then if it's, you don't want to go back to the sport, if you feel in your heart that the passion and the desire isn't there anymore, then I wouldn't push it, because then you're not doing it. You're not gaining anything, even in yourself. You're not gaining anything in that instance. But if you feel like this is still the sport that you love, or the job that you love, whatever it relates to, then it's always worth finding a way to overcome it. And it's typically changing something in the way that you prepare. So.
I like that. It's shifting that locus of control back on yourself and saying, look, things might not have gone my way once, but that doesn't mean it's going to be the same again. I'm in control. This is my life. I'm going to do what I want. And if you want to return to the sport, if you want to, go get, finish that class or degree or whatever it is, you're going to find a way to make it happen if you want it bad enough.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's a lot of it is a desire and a passion. And then if it's not there anymore, then you got to find that passion for something else too. So sometimes it's okay for it not to be there anymore. I kind of decided to hang up the grips and do something new, but I knew sports were still a passion. So you just have to find something else to put your energy towards if you've actually decided that it's time to move on, which is part of life too. Sometimes you have to realize that. you can't keep fighting something that isn't working for you. So.
No, I like that message a lot. And that seems to be something that I always fail on is, for me, if I, start throwing crap against the wall, I'm like, well, eventually it's going to stick, right? So sometimes I just need to kind of move on from things. So I think we can all say that. But with that, thank you so much for your time and for coming on today. And if you're listening, stay tuned, because on Wednesday, Michelle's going to be back to dive into gymnastics a lot. So look forward to that. Thanks for listening. Be sure to like, subscribe, and follow on social media.